But in the meantime, between time, like I stated, it is a lot of chaos going on when it comes down to the airports. The pay for air traffic controllers who don't come to work, warning on his Truth Social post, President Trump gave a warning that he would dock the pay for air traffic controllers who don't come to work, warning on his Truth Social post that people who don't come to work should leave the profession altogether with no payment or servants pay. But Trump also recommended possibly adding $10,000 bonus for air traffic controllers who didn't take time off. This is the threat. That's why I say everybody's throwing a doggy bone out there, right? Everybody's throwing a doggy bone. And what do I mean everybody's throwing a doggy bone? Because here we are in a government shutdown and federal workers are not getting paid. And I'm telling you right now, during the holidays, especially Thanksgiving is coming up, I'm telling you right now, you need to stay home. There's nowhere in the hell I'll catch a flight. There's no way in living I would not catch a flight during a government shutdown. Look at everything that has transpired recently. When it comes down to crashes, when it comes down to not only crashes with planes, helicopters, why in the world would I take a flight? For what? I'm being honest. Air traffic controllers are running thin right now. Pilots, patients are running very thin as well. I wouldn't take a flight right now. And even after the shutdown ends, I forgot to mention that it will take weeks to a year for everything to get back to what it once was prior to the shutdown. So why would I jeopardize my safety, my family's safety? Why? Because I want to take a flight to Hawaii. I want to take a flight to New York. I want to take a flight to Paris. Why? The only people that should be taking a flight right now are the ones where your job calls for you to take a flight. Other than that, I wouldn't do it. But thank you guys for coming in. You're listening to Politic Graham. Hit that like button, subscribe to the platform. Someone in the comments says the Democrats cheap trick of shutting down Congress. Grace says Democrats are lying. C-Wag, hello C-Wag. C-Wag says Democrats always lie. Whoa. Shout out to C-Wag. Mark says the Democrats are keeping the government shut down. I'm not seeing these comments. Let me make sure, because I'm trying to make sure. I got to find out. I think I have an op, because I'm not seeing the comments. It's like I'm seeing the comments on one side. Hello, Hassan. Shout out to Hassan. Hassan says, Politic Graham, how are you doing? There's a lot going on, Hassan. Hassan, there's a lot going on in real life, but for those that know, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but it is a lot going on. If you know, you know. If you've been watching my live, listen to my lives, you will know what's going on in my real life. All I can say is please pray for yourself first, pray for your family, and then please, in the name of Jesus, pray for me, please. For real. Because it's a lot going on, especially for my loved one right now. And my loved one has been a victim to this shutdown, especially with this madness that's going on when it comes down to ACA. So I don't want to get too much into it, but please keep me in your prayers. But please pray for yourself first and pray for your loved ones before you pray for me. But hello, Hassan. How you doing? Yes, Hassan says salute to the chat. Thank you so much, Hassan, for the support. Don says they are all crooks. Don says they are all crooks. JCJ says, I mean, we're going to talk real talk. The Democrats and Republicans both lie all the time. They're too busy fighting amongst each other about pushing their own personal agendas. And that gets a highlight for me. That gets a highlight for me. Shout out to JCJ. Thank you so much, Ferna, for the prayer. Ferna 37 says, praying for you and your family. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And that's why I say for me personally, I come from a stance that working 2 jobs, going to school, I don't have any kids, all this. There's nothing you can do if you put your mind to it. There's nothing that you can't do if you put your mind to it. I'm living proof. And I come from a household where my father couldn't read or write. But guess what? My father never had me on any system. Mind you, he could not read or write. My father, who could not read or write, he was able to make sure I had clothes on my back, food in my mouth, and a roof over my head. And he was never caught in a line with a woman waiting for a can from the government. But on that note, I say all that to say, nothing is impossible. Nothing, if somebody tells you the word no, you tell yourself, I can do it. Within reason. Now, don't do anything illegal. But why am I talking about this? Because you have a lot of rhetoric that's going on when it comes down to Congress. They're asking for, on the Democrat side, they're asking for an extension of something that is already corrupted. That is already an example of wasteful spending that needs to be reformed anyway. And when it comes down to, is it really helping the people, or is it helping the people be in control by the government? Is it helping Americans stay controlled by the government? User 10 says your father was a stand-up guy. That is why I say this. I look at things very different. Because I'm telling you right now, if my father turned nothing into something and he couldn't read or write, I don't need anybody to tell me what they can't do. You have people come over here from other countries who can't even speak English. And they're able to buy a house. They're able to start a business. So there's no excuse. If anything, right now, if you're so upset, and this goes for everybody, no matter what party you are, send a nice email, phone call to your local House of Representatives and House of Senate. JCJ says, I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. I don't feel like you should be forced to choose a side just to vote for somebody. That's where the problem starts. Our government forces us to pick a side. I think the society, you're right. I think when it comes down to specifically the government, yes, they want you to quote unquote pick a side. And that's why you have so many people that have jumped ship. And why do I say that? Look at what MTG is doing. MTG, she she's now made announcements that she doesn't agree with a lot of things that has recently been going on when it comes down to the Republican Party. But then on the other side, when it comes down to the Democrats, you have a number of Democrats that have stated, I don't want to call myself a Democrat anymore. I'd rather call myself an independent altogether. Let me be a Bernie Sanders. That's what you have people saying. And shout out to everybody in the live. Eric, you hit the mark. Eric says we have people running as independents. This is where we have gotten at this point. But thank you guys for coming in. It's taking a lot for me to do what I'm doing right now. If you guys only know half of what I am going through, I'm telling you right now. But I have to tell myself, I know somebody going worse than me. I know somebody is in worse position than I am right now. I have to tell myself that. I have to tell myself that and do everything I can, even if it's laugh, even if it's talk to myself. I have to do something, even entertain what's going on in that world called politics. I have to do what I can to move forward. And I tell you guys, especially, shout out to everybody in the live. Whatever you're going through, please don't give up and move forward. But I'm still standing on that. You better not get on that plane. Don't get on that plane. Thank you guys for coming in. You're listening to Politicgram. As always, we do have a live poll. Can Congress save America? 50% says no. 34% says yes, and 16% says I plead the fifth. This is Tuesday. And on that note, thank you guys for coming in. My prayers and salute goes out to veterans. For those who don't know, this is Veterans Day. And if you're a veteran, I salute you. Thank you so much for your service. Thank you for making the biggest sacrifice that a lot of people, couldn't do. And that is serve the country in the military. Thank you for your service. It's so wild to me, right? These congressmen, congresswomen, how many have said Happy Veterans Day? Oh my goodness, Joy. Thank you so much, Joy. I appreciate it. Let me highlight. Oh my goodness. Joy says, take care of yourself, Politic. Oh, if only you knew. Thank you so much. Shout out to Joy. Thank you so much, Joy, for the super sticker. I appreciate that. And I tell you guys, please, 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 no matter what, find joy in your life, happiness, and be grateful of every day you wake up. And thank you, Joy, for that. Thank you so much for that super sticker. And on that note, as I always do, I always have 6 affirmations I always say in a live chat. Rule number 1, eliminate the if, focus on the present. Rule number 2, focus on self, not others. Rule number 3, tell yourself I will learn something new every day. Rule number 4, tell yourself I will not get upset at what I don't have control of. Rule number 5, I will advocate for myself, because if I don't advocate for myself, who will speak up for me? And rule number 6, don't sweat the small stuff. Ruck says, yesterday I turned 250 years old as we celebrated USMC birthday, 250 years. Shout out to Ruck with your 250 years. But yes, thank you all for your service. Shout out to the veterans. Jim Carter says, how many of these politicians have multiple houses? Uh-oh. Uh-oh, Jim. Jim said they didn't come in this room to play. Jim says everybody want to point fingers at these Republicans, but how many of these politicians altogether have multiple homes? Uh-oh. Watch this. How many of these so-called politicians can help a number of these people that need a place to stay? See, they don't want to tell you. They don't want to talk about stuff like that, Jim. Jim Carter in the chat. They don't want to talk about stuff like that. They don't want to talk about how while we're currently in this government shutdown, Congress has been receiving their pay. They have been receiving their pay. A lot of congressmen, as a matter of fact, they have YouTube accounts. And with their YouTube accounts alone, you know, this is outside of their $174,000 salary. With their YouTube accounts, they are receiving an additional 6 figures a year. They don't want to talk about that. User 104 says, how much is Pelosi's worth? Well, according to reports, allegedly, if you include her husband, they allege that they are both worth $250 million. That's what they say. And hello, Georgia Maniac. Well, not Georgia Maniac. Yeah, Georgia Maniac. Hello, Georgia Maniac. Georgia Maniac says, great live and info again today. Thank you, Graham, and thank you so much. Shout out to Georgia. Jesus says, free enterprise, work, earn, get educated. Jesus, do you know somebody by the name of Zaram Amdani? Because you sound like that. I'm just playing. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But thank you guys for coming in. You're listening to Politic Graham. We do have a live poll, and the poll goes, can Congress save America? 50% says no. 34% says yes. 16% says, I plead the fifth. Plead the fifth. But thank you guys for coming in. Woo! I appreciate it so much. Ruck says, I have to go do the dog walking thing. Appreciate you, Politic. Thank you, chat. Y'all be great with each other. And salute to you too, Ruck. Thank you so much for the support. And on that note, if you would like to support the platform, shout out to Joy. Thank you so much for the super sticker. Your name will be highlighted and your name will go in the banner across the screen. Shout out to everybody in the line. Thank you so much for the support. Hit that like button, subscribe to the platform. I wish I could talk to you guys about certain things, but it's like, I don't know. I don't know. But thank you guys for coming in. You're listening to Politic Graham. In the meantime, in between time, shout out to everybody in the live. Hello, Greg Coyote. Greg Coyote says, Happy Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day, Greg Coyote. Yes, it is Veterans Day. Tuesday, November the 11th. Reading the comments. Thank you guys for coming in. Going back into the comments. Hello, Stephanie. Stephanie says, I personally cannot agree with any Democrat except John Fetterman. And see, I'm going to tell you one thing about John Fetterman, and it's a good thing you brought that up. I don't know if you're still in here. The senator of Pennsylvania, a lot of Democrats, you know, don't agree necessarily with some of his ideals. But one thing I respect about John Fetterman is he stands on being for the people. And I think a lot of members of Congress, they have gotten too complacent and they have forgotten about the fact that, wait a minute, this is supposed to be for the people, not for themselves. But thank you guys for coming in. I will concur when it comes down to John Fetterman. I think John Fetterman, he was one of the first Democrats. He was one of the first Democrats that did not approve of this quote unquote shutdown. He was one of the Democrats that said, I agree with, ending this shutdown. I agree with it. That was him. But thank you guys for coming in. You're listening to Politic Graham. Hit that like button, subscribe to the platform. And you are listening to Politic Graham. Now I will say this, okay? When it comes down to John Fetterman, I think a lot of people was especially Democrats. Democrats was like, whoa. When John Fetterman, he said that Donald Trump was no different than, quote unquote, any other random internet troll. And that he can sue a ham sandwich in response to Trump threatening to file lawsuits in Pennsylvania. I'm sorry. But, even with John Fetterman, right? Even he, does not agree with this government shutdown. Even he doesn't agree with it. But thank you guys for coming in. I had a great live. Shout out to everybody in the live. In the meantime, between time, going back into the comments. Hello, the Herbal. Hello, the Herbal. How you doing? The Herbal says, hello, Politic and Check. Shout out to the Herbal. Greg says Fetterman is in touch with his constituents. I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. And I think a lot of people forget that. A lot of people, especially in Congress, they forget that, hey, don't forget about your constituents. Don't get so upset at what's going on that you forget that people still need to be fed. People still need to be treated in and receive health care. People need to still feel that they are being heard. And I feel that a lot of people, especially now when we're under this government shutdown, they have forgotten that in Congress. It's not about you. It's about the constituents. It's about the people. And what Stephanie in the comment says, yes, we the people. People forget that. People forget that. But thank you guys for coming in. Shout out to everybody in the live. Please don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the platform. You are listening to Politic Graham. Now, I will say this. One thing I respect about John Fetterman, Senator John Fetterman of Pennsylvania, he has, been an advocate for people that have struggled depression. Why? Because he has stated that he has struggled with depression throughout his life. And, also when it comes down to depression, he is an advocate when it comes down to health, especially when he suffered a stroke back in 2022. Health is wealth, ladies and gentlemen. Health is wealth. Please take care of yourself. Please check in for yourself. And because I'm telling you right now, Congress right now, they're appearing that they only care about themselves. If they cared about you and I, we would not be in this government shutdown. Artist says, rich or poor, you need to eat Jesus, not God. Woo, artist, you came very hard with that one. The only Michael Wilson says Democrats can do nothing but lie. But thank you guys for coming in. We do have a live poll. Hit that like button, subscribe to the platform. We do have a live poll. Can Congress save America? 51% says no, Congress cannot save America. 33% says Congress can save America. 16% says I plead the fifth. And for those that don't know, this is day 32 of a government shutdown. And the House of Senate, it did pass. Shout out to, I'm gonna name the senators that crossed over to support passing the bill and getting us out of this government shutdown. And the Democrats are Maggie Hodson, the senator of New Hampshire, also senator of New Hampshire, Jean Shaheen, and senator of Virginia, Tim Kaine, senator of Maine, Angus King, senator of Nevada, Jackie Rosen, senator of Illinois, Dick Durbin, senator of Nevada as well, Catherine Cortez Masto, and last but not least, senator of Pennsylvania, John Fetterman. Those are the individuals that crossed over to get the bill passed in the House of Senate. Now we are on day 22, waiting for the House of Representatives to return by Wednesday. They have to return to work, as they would say, by Wednesday. And that's one thing I forgot to talk about. I noticed when it comes down to a lot of these Democrats, they say, oh, well, Mike Johnson, House of Speaker Mike Johnson, he told the Republicans to go on paid vacation, whatever. But watch this. Watch this. Why would I report back to work in Washington, D.C. if you're already telling me in my face, Hakeem, I don't care if it's another month, the government shutdown lasts another month. We're not going to pass a partisan bill. That's what you said. Now, I would respect the fact if nobody in Congress were to receive pay, and I'm going to keep stating that, even if I have to say that every day. Congress, you do not deserve to get paid while people are struggling without pay, working 10-hour shifts 6 days a week. You're forcing them to work 10-hour shifts 6 days a week, the air traffic controllers, and they're working off of an IOU. And here you go, still collecting your money and stating, I don't care if the shutdown lasts another month. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. And I want people to really take that in. This is what world we're living in. What world are we living in? We're living in a society where Congress is literally telling you in your face, well, if they don't give us more money, extend the ACA, I'm not signing no bill. And artists, I see what you're saying. Gary says, yes, about time. Swear that woman that. And hello, Hassan. Thank you so much, Hassan. Hassan, got to put you in. I got to put you in the blue banner. Thank you so much, Hassan, for the support. And see if I can put you in. But thank you guys for coming in. If you would like your name to be put in these, oh, thank you so much, Hassan. Look at there. Shout out to Hassan for gifting a membership. Thank you so much, Hassan. I appreciate that. Let me make sure I put you in the blue banner. I gotta put you in there, Hassan. Thank you so much, Hassan, for the support. Hassan, I'm putting you in the banner. Thank you so much for the support, Hassan. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Hassan says, let me make sure I also add you. Hassan has gifted. Thank you so much. Hassan says, keep up the great work, Graham. I appreciate it. And yes, Georgia Maniac says, thank you for the super chat. Shout out to Hassan. And my thing is this, at the end of the day, I'm going to be nice to you. I'm going to be nice to you, Bar. I'm going to let you be in here for like maybe, I'm going to put you on a pause. I'm going to put you on a little pause. But my thing is this, when it comes down to what's going on, I'm praying that people reach out to their House of Representatives, reach out to their House of Senate, and if you don't like what's going on with this current administration, dare I say, reach out to, and I want to talk about that when it comes down to Medicaid, when it comes down to Medicaid and Medicare, especially what's going on in this current administration, because people have been stating all this, right? This mess that's been going on. You can also reach out to Dr. Oz because he's the administrator for Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services in the Trump administration. See, my thing is this: people want to sit back and do all of this talking. Georgia Maniac, what you talking about? Georgia Maniac says, use that peach power, Graham. Shout out to Georgia. Cindy says the people have to save America. And Cindy, I couldn't have said it any better. Shout out to Cindy Williams in the chat. Cindy, you have a great statement. Cindy says the people have to save America. And I think people forget that. Right? Who is it that votes for Congress? Who is it that votes for president? The people. Now people can say, "Oh, it is ran. It's they already know who they're going to vote for. It's quote unquote rigged." And my response to that is, right? If you feel the government is rigged, then what are you doing in your own community to help your neighbor, to help yourself, to help your family? If you don't trust the government, then what are you doing? Hassan, Georgia Maniac says, thank you for the membership. Hassan, Georgia Maniac says that. So my question is to, anybody, right? Because I tell you right now, I have done a lot of things and still do things. I've been out there when it comes down to the protests. I've been out there when it comes down, and no, I'm not talking about no King protests. I'm not talking about the King's rally. No. I'm not talking about the King's rally protest. No. See, I've actually been out there to real protests. Real protests. And what do I mean when I say real protests? Real protests in the sense where you can get arrested. But I'm gonna be respectful. And it goes back to what Cindy Williams said in the chat. The people have to save America. We the people, Stephanie, in the chat, we the people, we have to save America. We have to work together. We have to come together here in America. And I don't ask for people. You can't save everybody. You can't save the world. But when it comes down to one thing, even if you just say hello to somebody, even if you can afford it, not only say hello to somebody, but whatever happened to, well, maybe I can get this person a sandwich that is homeless. Maybe I can say hello, how you doing, to this person that I'm sitting by. That's what I mean when I say help. What is it that you're doing? For several different states, costs are rising by 16,000 to as much as 25,000 per year. We the people got to do something about this. Shout out to Skeeter in the chat. You're absolutely correct. We the people have to come together and stop being, don't fall for the flim flam for what these politicians are putting in your ear. Don't fall for it. And that's real. But thank you guys for coming in. You're listening to Politic Gram. Hit that like button. We do have a live poll. Can Congress save America? 50% says no. 34% says yes. 16% says I plead the fifth. Shout out to Hassan for the super sticker. Shout out to Joy for the super sticker. Shout out to Hassan also for gifting a super chat to Georgia Maniac. Shout out to Georgia. And if you would like your name to be highlighted like Hassan as well as Joy, your name can be put into that beautiful blue banner going across the screen. And it will stay in there. It could be in there for over a month or longer. Because this is a platform for the people. This is a platform no matter what country you live in. No matter what party you represent. And for those that think that we're going through a living hell here in America, I implore you to invest in researching what is going on in other countries around the world. And my prayers goes out to Jamaica. My prayers goes out to the Philippines. My prayers goes out to the people of East Africa. Because if you think it's so bad here, look at what's going on in other countries around the world. I say that to say be blessed in the state that you're in right now. Be blessed what you're in right now, because things could get worse. It can get worse. Artist in the comment says Trump needs to be gone. Trump for president for life. Aaron says Trump for president for life. My question to you guys are in it now. Artist says little children are hungry right now. Does it make sense? And my thing, artist, with that is the reason people are hungry right now is because we're in a current government shutdown. And when it comes down to, yes, people are stating that, well, President Trump and the U.S. Treasury for the current administration, they can use their contingency fund to provide SNAP. But I want people to understand this. It costs $9 billion to feed the people on SNAP a month. Now, people say, well, President Trump, he has made at least $200 billion when it comes down to receiving those tariffs that he applied to various countries around the world. And my response to that is not America's money just yet. Why? Because when it comes down to the Supreme Court of Justices, he's still waiting on the decision if those funds are legal. So he's waiting to see if the Supreme Court of Justice will say that a minimum of $200 billion in tariffs, is it legal? You want him to use that money right now? You want him to use that? So what if he used that money right now while we're in the government shutdown? Supreme Court of Justice finds that President Trump is doing this illegal, then the administration will have to figure out a way to pay that $200 billion back if they use it. Then we'll really be in a pothole. So I say that to say, if you want to help, if you feel that Trump is not doing enough, if you feel that Congress is not doing enough, then what are you doing yourself to help? That's all I say. That's all I say. And in the shoes that I'm in, I'm literally worrying about a loved one that's in the hospital right now. A loved one that's in the hospital where they're telling me, well, she ain't got to go home, but she got to get the hell out of our hospital right now. And if she doesn't get the hell out of our hospital right now, you're going to have to pay that money. Why? Because Medicare and Medicaid has ran up. Oh, and I forgot, my loved one still cannot talk. My loved one still cannot move. So like I said, this is not the place or time to point fingers at these so-called politicians. And some of these politicians, let's be honest, you will never meet them in real life. Let's be honest. I know for a fact I will never meet Nancy Pelosi, who's worth $250 million. It might be a prayer that I would ever meet her in real life. Artists, I tried to be nice to you, artists. I really, really tried. I really, really tried, artists. You have a good day, artists. But thank you guys for coming in. You're listening to Politic Graham. Hit that like button. We do have a live poll. Going back into the comments, Robert says, the Democrats, you are done, finished. Understand your Democrat Party has come out of the closet as the true evil that have plagued our nation. Whoa. Georgia Maniac says, God bring you the strength, Graham, and blessings. And thank you so much. I appreciate that. Positive. Thank you so much, Georgia Maniac. This is why I tell people, you have to, move forward and not hold on to things you don't have any control of. And last but not least, please don't be so fast to point fingers. Because it's like, what good does it make to continue to point fingers at the Democrats, point fingers at the Republicans, point fingers at Trump? And guess what? We're still in this mess that we're in. You still have bills that need to be paid. You still have insurance that is still on the rise, need to be paid monthly. Life is too short to continue to point fingers.